available? Not quite. It's a PDF. So I created this using Google Slides, and for whatever reason, Adobe Connect doesn't like Google or PowerPoints that have been downloaded as a Google slide. It just has a problem uploading, and I just finished this slides deck this morning, so I didn't have a chance to troubleshoot it and what have you. So the PDF is exactly what the PowerPoint would have been. All of the text is the same. The links will work when there's links within the PDF, so it's exactly the same. It's just that it's not a PowerPoint. Okay, so I had to explain that. Being totally transparent. I'm going to stop sharing this first screen because I'm not sharing a PowerPoint. I'm going to go live. I'm going to dare to go out of the Adobe Connect, and I'm going to share my screen with you so you can see what I can see, and we're going to go back and forth between the live show and actually doing the things that I'm going to be showing you. So here we go. This is me, a little tiny picture over there. My name is Melinda Holt. I'm a project specialist 2 of technology integration. My email is listed there. If you have any questions regarding the Google at any time in your Google experience, you can email me at that address, mholt@scoe.net, and I will answer you. I would have put my phone number there, but as Veronica knows, I am never at my phone, or I'm there rarely. So just use that email. It's much quicker and you'll get a faster reply. I actually work for OTAN, a leadership project here in California that serves WIOA-funded agencies, and I do work for TAP as well. That we service all of the what do we service? California agencies, part of consortiums within California, and I'm sure Veronica will be chatting exactly what I misspoke there when I spoke about that. So again, if you these are links, so on the PDF, when you click on them, they will take you to that address. Okay, we're going to go to the next slide. So why should we share and collaborate? And please think outside of your consortium. I mean, I know that's why that was the plug for this webinar, to share and collaborate with your consortia, but you should be sharing and collaborating with your students. You should be sharing and collaborating within your program because it builds trust. It enhances a feeling of ownership. So it's all about we. It's we, us, not them, not I. Okay, there is no I in the word team. So it promotes creativity, strengthens healthy risk taking because you know someone's got your back. And when you're part of consortium, if there's somebody that is in the consortia that has the missing puzzle piece that you need, wouldn't it be much better to be sharing and collaborating with that person? And that's what that graphic is trying to represent. I kind of came up with that idea this morning and went, oh, this is pretty cool. So, and when you're sharing and you're collaborating, you're also you're able to share or work on something quicker, and you've got more ideas banging around. Um, and you're able to share those ideas with each other, and it's better. Okay? Any arguments with that? There shouldn't be. There are times when you don't want to totally share. There are different types of sharing, and we're going to cover those as well. But before we do, I put this slide in the wrong spot. You need to know the 2 types of Google that are used in education. There's the pub and there's the club. Okay, the pub is public. And I'd be doing my accent for you in the Irish because we're all in the pub and we can do anything we want to do. And when you're in the pub, you're free to do what you want to do. All right. But when you're in the club, you have to do things a certain way, and we're quite proper. All right. So, and sometimes I'm pretty sure you can see my mouse. There's this line between the pub and the club. Sometimes there are holes in it, and sometimes it's a solid line, it's a wall. So if you are sharing with someone and you're using a club account, so you have an @azusa.net or you have an @scoe.org account, That's a club account. And you share it with someone that has at Gmail. That's a pub account. Sometimes you will not be able to share across a wall, or you'll be able to share out, but they won't be able to share back. Okay, so you have to be aware of the Googles. So before you start bouncing in and sharing everything, do a couple of tests with people first, or do a test with yourself. Have a Gmail account and have your club account, and share something with yourself back and forth to see what you can do with your other self. Sometimes you'll have Sybil moments. You won't really realize what account you are using. If we look up here in the far right hand corner, you can see that I have a pub account. It's called SCOE Tech, but I also have a club account called mholt@scoe.net. I have another pub account called Winging It. That's my Google Trainer account. So there's lots of different accounts that you can have, and you should test before you start sharing and collaborating with each other, just to make sure it works, or to find out what the limitations are going to be, if any. If you're lucky, there won't be any. Or there might be some going one direction but not the other. So know your Google and know your other people's Google before you start sharing and collaborating, because there's nothing more frustrating than being told, I've shared a document with you, and then you can't open it. Next slide. So let's say that somebody has a network account, an EDU, and they have to use, or they use that, or they have a Yahoo account and they want to use that. They have a misspelling here. They have just another account, another email account, and they don't want to create a Gmail account because they don't want people to start emailing that Gmail account. That can be done. And what you do is you go to accounts.google.com. You have them basically create an account using their other email address. Yes, it can be done. What you do, I'm going to show you how to do this. You have to use Chrome. You have to use, oh, I'm signed into my account. So you have to use Chrome. And I'm glad I took a screenshot. When you do, you go to accounts.google.com. I'm going to make this bigger, and you'll see a page that looks like this. Okay, it's create your Google account. I can't do it right now, apologies, because I'm signed into my account so I can get to my slides deck. But when you do this, or when you have somebody do this, tell them to open Chrome, go to accounts.google.com, and when they get to this page, they will click here. Use my current email address instead. And when they do that, they can put mholt@yahoo.com. They can put mholt@, oh God forbid, AOL.com. They could put live.com, whatever the other email address is. So they will have access to all of the Google tools that are available in G Suite's EDU. They just won't have a Gmail. So when you send an email to mholt@yahoo.com and you tell me that you shared a slides deck with me, the email will come to my Yahoo account. And when I click on the link, I will be prompted to sign in using the sign-in that I created when I created that account. Okay, so I'll put in mholt@yahoo.com as my ID, and then I'll put in the password, and that slides deck will appear as you have shared it with me. This works for students really well because most of them, if they have a smartphone, they have an account, some kind of an account. If they have a Windows phone, they have an @live.com account or a Microsoft account. If they have an iPhone, they guaranteed have an iPhone email address attached to that phone. So all you have to do is have them create an account using that email address. Now, I do recommend that the password that you use for the Yahoo or the Live or whatever is the same as the one that you already have. So make the two passwords the same. So whatever I have for my Yahoo account, it will, I'll also create it for this Google account. Does that make sense? I'm going to come back into the room real quick because I see some comments here, and we're going to figure out if I can answer them. And yes, the screen went away. It's okay. So I'm going to look at the screen right here. Does anybody have any questions on that Gmail? I'm going to count to 5, 4, 3, 2. It's typing. I'm going to count really slowly, but gotta get going. Does the formatting stay the same? Absolutely. Absolutely. So nothing changes. If I created an account, a Google account using mholt@yahoo.com, I would totally use that ID, mholt@yahoo.com. But when I tried to go to, if I tried to open Gmail, it would not open for me. It would tell me that I don't have an account. I don't have a Gmail account. But if I go to Google or go to if I go to Google Drive, if I go to Google Slides, if I go to Maps, and I sign in with my mholt@yahoo.com account, I have access to everything. So the formatting, everything's the same. Okay, so that seems to be the only question. I thought we had a few more, but we don't. So I'm going to go back out, and we are going to move on. So sharing is very important. It's one of the best things about Google, especially pub to pub. So public accounts to public accounts. You can share anything you want at any time in any form. Okay. The sharing options, you might, again, you need to test between the pub and your club so that you know what you can do. Okay. So default. Usually when you go to the share button and you start putting in somebody's email address, and we're going to use Veronica as a guinea pig. Okay. The default is this little pencil here. And I'm hoping you can see that. The pencil means edit. Okay. The next option would be comment. That means that if whoever I add right now, they can all edit, or I can make them all commenters, or I can make them all viewers. And I'm going to talk about those in a sec. I always notify people because that sends them an email. And I can add my own note so that it's a little more personal, or so that I'm telling people what exactly I'm sharing with them. Or you can just send now and without adding a note, and Google will notify in a very official sounding Google note. So I'm going to go ahead and hit send because I'm giving Veronica edit rights. And as the owner of this document, what I giveth, I can taketh away. So I went back to the share button. I'm going to hit the advanced link now right here. And actually, you can actually click where it says shared with. If you're sharing with a lot of people, it'll, I think, give the first 5 names, and then it'll say plus 11 more or plus 15 more, however. So you can click here where the names are listed, or you can click here where it says advanced. Boom, and you come to this page. It's the exact same page. Now, it occurs to me that Veronica likes to share with everybody in the world, and I only want her on this document. I don't want her to share with anyone else. But when you share as an editor, when you share with somebody and you make them an editor, they have all the same rights as the owner except one. They cannot delete this file from the face of the earth. Only I can do that as the owner. Okay, the owner is the supreme leader, the supreme being, the supreme creator of this document or of this file. But the editor could make any changes or edit the file. They could totally wipe out the file by deleting all the information off of it, or they could add editors. And this checkbox right here, prevent editors from changing access and adding new people, that is my safeguard. So again, I know Veronica likes to share with everybody, so I'm going to click that checkbox after I've shared with her, just so that she can't add anybody else to this document. Now, Veronica would never do that. I'm just using her as an example. I also can, at any time, disable options to download, print, and copy. for commenters and viewers. And again, I'm going to go over commenters and viewers in just a minute. Okay. Again, as the supreme leader of this document, I can also get rid of Veronica. So she might not have even had time to get to that document. And then I save the changes. And now nobody is allowed, excuse me, to get to the document, except I've had a share link. This is something else I'm going to go over. I was doing some testing this morning to make sure that this worked. Usually this little icon right here is a lock, and I'll explain why it isn't in just a minute. But first, let's go on to the next options that you can set on any document, any slide, any sheet. You can have them comment off to the sides. And again, do it exactly the same way. You click on the share button, you enter somebody's email address. I'm going to really pick on Veronica today. And then you just make sure that you make them a commenter. If you slip up and you make them a commenter and you hit send, you go, oh, wait, I wanted them to be able to view, not comment. You can always go back to the share button. You click on this advanced link. This is the part that most people forget about. And then you can change their permission. So I can make her the viewer, I can make her an editor. And here's a little thing between pub and club that you're probably going to want to know. It's also between club and club. So if you have an @scoe.net, that's a club. Okay, and then somebody else in your consortium has @rivercity.usd. That's a different club. Those two can share, more than likely, between each other. They can collaborate, they can edit, they can comment, they can view, but I cannot make somebody else the owner of this document if they're in a different domain. It won't work. I know right now it says owner right here, but as soon as I hit save changes, I'm going to get this, are you sure? And then when I say yes, it will say error, because the ownership is trying to go to a club that I am not a part of. So you cannot change ownership between club and club, and that's going to be important when we come up to teams. I don't see any questions in the chat, so we're going to keep going through here. Veronica, no offense, but I'm going to make myself back the owner, and I'm going to get rid of you. And save changes. Done. Okay, and by the way, that's one time when you're using Google that you will have to save. You have a save button after you complete a share. Okay, so we went from commenter to viewer. A viewer cannot touch a file. Viewers and commenters, though, they will be able to go up to the file menu, click, and make their own copy. There's nothing to preclude them from making their own copy unless, remember I showed you, you select that advanced link and then you remove that function. So I'm going to show you that one more time. I'm going to click the share button, I click advanced, and then right here, disable options to download, print, and copy for commenters and viewers. That won't preclude the editor from being able to download, but it will preclude download for or copies to be made by commenters or viewers. Okay, so those two little check boxes give you a little more kickapoo joy juice as far as giving permissions to the people that you're going to be sharing with. Commenting and suggesting. This is just some more here. It's a good idea to have comments off to the side of a document so that you know, hey, there's a misspell here, or this paragraph makes more sense up here than over there. There's all kinds of things. You need somebody to proof. Don't use or don't rely on Grammarly, okay? Don't rely on an app to do your checking for you. Human beings, believe it or not, will catch things that an app will not. Okay, everything might be spelled correctly, but it might not make sense. So you need that commenter or someone to suggest. And I kind of have a feeling that most of you probably don't know what suggesting is. So I'm going to open up a doc. By the way, if I'm wrong, let me know. Do you know what a suggestion mode is in a doc? You can only suggest, by the way, in a document. You cannot suggest in a sheet or a slide. I don't see any comments coming up. All right, so this is just a test that I did. It was just a bunch of garbled stuff. Right now, because I am the editor, I'm sorry, I am in edit mode. This little button right here, most people just, they don't even look at it. They ignore it. If you click it, though, you'll see two other options, suggesting and viewing. Viewing the document allows you to look at it without all the stuff up here. Okay, and it also gives you an idea of what a viewer will be able to see. And you notice the viewer lost the formatting buttons, but they can still file, make a copy, because I didn't have that checkbox selected. Okay, if I go to suggesting mode, this turns green, the button turns green. And I can go in here and I will select some text. And let's just pretend that I want to add Friday. So I'm going to select this word and make it a comma. Then I'm going to go to the end of Thursdays and type a comma, oops, comma, space, and, oh, my bad. So I need to select this. There we go. So we're going to type and, well, that didn't work out at all. Okay, forget that little scenario. Let's pretend that Thursdays is not part of the function here, or is not supposed to be part of the document. I wanted to split it up and add Fridays, but it's just too much to explain on how you would do that. So as a suggester, when I go in, and I'm going to back out a little bit. Bear with me, folks. Sorry about that. I'm going to take this and, oh, why isn't it letting me? Mondays, Tuesday, Wednesdays, it's not doing it. As you suggest and type over text, it will strike through. There we go. So it wasn't Thursday, it was Friday. I just didn't start typing. That's why it threw me off a little bit. So that's the suggestion. Not only did the text that I selected first before I started typing, so I selected text, started typing, and Friday, it was struck through, and what I would like to replace, or what I would suggest replace and Thursdays, has turned green. So this right here has turned green. I better just click off of it before it gets stricken. And right here, the text is green, so that would be replacing and Thursdays if the editors agree. So if I go in here as a commenter, I can suggest. If I'm another editor, I can suggest. I cannot touch it as a viewer. If I suggest something and an editor comes in and goes, oh yeah, it wasn't and Thursdays, it was and Fridays, the editors will see these two little functions here. One, you accept the suggestion, and the other, nah, it was Thursday, you're wrong. So it goes back to that. I'm going to undo that so that you can see, oh yeah, it was Friday. It's not Thursday. I made a mistake. Boom. Now it takes it and Friday. You can do entire paragraphs like this, or retype entire sentences. And again, you're suggesting. You can also make comments off to the side. So I'm going to go back into edit mode, and I'm going to select, let's say, this zip code. You notice nothing's happening. I'm going to hit the comment button up here, and I'm going to add a comment. It turns yellow. And then I can type a note. This zip should be 90087. And hit comment. Now, whoever has shared this with me, or if I'm an editor, or somebody that else that has access to this document, I can resolve this. Okay, so I can go and make the change, and maybe it isn't 90087, maybe it's 90086. So I put an 8 in there, and then I resolve it. Now the comment goes away. So now we're collaborating together on the same document, me and whoever else is doing this. And you notice I have 3 accounts in here, the person that created the document and 2 of my other persona. Again, if I agree with what has been suggested, I can accept it, and it's just taken, okay? Or if some suggestions have been made, I would have to go in and actually physically change the yellow text and then resolve. So it's 2 different ways of helping edit or proof a document. Suggestions are only in docs. Comments you can do on slides, sheets, and docs. Okay? Enough about that. And this just tells you where they happen, what I've already talked about. Preview. This is a really cool function, and I'm 99% sure none of you know about it. So when you share something with somebody, you might want to not give them the ability to download, but you don't want to see them you don't want to give them anything except you don't want them you don't want them to be able to copy the text off the page. You don't want them to download it. You just want them to view this thing. Okay? So this is why I went up here and I told you the link. It should look like a lock, but right now I want anyone with the link can view. Okay, so I selected this because usually it's off. And let's just look at the button. So here's the share button with the lock. Okay, so I click on that when I want to preview, when I want to give preview mode. I hit Get Shareable Link. Okay, I copy the link. By the way, don't write this down. The instructions are on the PDF or the PowerPoint. So I've copied the link and I hit Done. I haven't added anybody to this. What I do after that is I take the presentation or the whatever file I want as preview mode. I get that shareable link and then I paste it somewhere so that I can edit the link. Because when you paste the link, it's going to be a big, long son of a gun. And at the end of it, you're going to see a slash, edit, question mark, blah, 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 blah. Okay? So everything from here over, everything that's yellow on this slide, you're going to select that and you're going to replace it with the word preview. I'm going to copy this and show you what a preview looks like. Boom! There is a slide presentation. They don't have any formatting. They don't have any ability to download. They can go through the slides just like this. For a document, it works the exact same way. So they basically just get a page that looks like the document. So if I wanted to look at this doc as preview mode, I'm going to show you again. We're going to go to the Share button. We're going to get Shareable Link. We're going to copy the link. Hit Done. Now we're going to paste that link somewhere. Usually you don't paste it into the document itself, but since we're here, I'm going to do that. Okay. Now here's that edit, question mark, blah, blah, blah. We're going to replace it with the word preview. Just like that. Now I can take this link and I can paste it in an email. I can paste it on a website. I can paste it anywhere I want. And when someone clicks on the link, they will see only this. So there's absolutely nothing to indicate that they can download, that they can copy, that they can do anything with this document other than read it. Okay, this is really great for newsletters, maybe brochures, even a handout that you want your students to see. Here's the thing, if I go back to this document and make a change, when they open the document, and I'm going to reload, because it was static there. But you see the change? So it's in real time. So if I go and I make changes to this slides deck, then my students or my collaborators will see the changes as they occur. So I don't have to worry about resharing anything with anybody or changing anything. That preview link, not only does it not allow them to touch it, but allows me to touch the main document without going back and resharing every time. Okay. Oh, let's see here. That's the preview share. Force copy. You do exactly the same thing when someone takes this link. And I'm not sure this is going to work for me because I'm actually opening the document and it knows that. But what should happen if I gave this, here, it does work. Yay! So what will happen then, instead of typing preview, you type copy at the end, and they will be asked, do you want to make a copy? And it will copy this document. Copy is the key word. It will copy the document into their drive. They have to be signed in. Again, they can be signed in with their pub account, they could be signed in with their club account, or if they got a Yahoo, they would sign in with their Yahoo account that they created with the Google. Another cool way to share without them touching the original document. I use this for a flashcard set for my students. You know, it's really cool. I can change the flashcards on the fly, and then they get a new set. And they never know when things are going to change. So preview, force copy, and then the different types of shares we got there. Right now we're going to sheets. Woohoo! You can protect ranges on a sheet. Now, I recently got an email from somebody that wanted to know how or could they create a Google sheet and then have somebody just edit one cell. That's all they want them to do is edit one cell. They want everything else locked. And in the old days, you could not do that. They've changed. You can do that now. So this is a demo that I was playing with yesterday. So let's say you've got an expense report. Okay, you want people to submit this. You might not want them to change the consortium name, so you would be protecting this cell. Their address, they don't need to touch that. You don't need to touch this. Basically, all they need to touch are these cells right here. So that's G18 through 22. And I know those numbers are really small for you, but don't worry about it. Okay, so how do you protect just part of a sheet? You go up to Data, and then you select Protected Sheets and Ranges. Now here, I've already protected part of this sheet. So right here, if I click on this range, this is the range to select. And I actually highlighted it in yellow because I knew you weren't going to be able to see the little box that's created around the range. But right here, you see the range of cells, B15 through G15. Those cells are protected. How do I know? Because I can look right here and see permissions. Only you can edit this range. Only you can edit this range. Nobody else can. And if I want to change that at any time, I can click on Change Permissions, and I can tell it to show warning when editing this range, or I go to Custom. And here I can see that I've shared this sheet with somebody, this person right here, and I can now click this checkbox, and then they are added as an editor on those cells only. On those cells only. I could also at this point add somebody else. So I could add Veronica to this sheet and then allow her to edit just those cells, or allow her to edit the whole sheet. Okay? So as you're doing ranges, you're given the option to add people. I'm going to go back to, I'm just going to say I'm done here. This is, let's see, I want this range. I'm trying to here it is. So this range here called amounts, I've got too many cells here. It should be 25. Okay, so I just changed the range. I'm going to say done. And we're going to go back to it so you can see that now it says you and one other person can edit this range. So whoever I've shared this with, they can now put in the amounts for their flight, for their hotel, but they can't touch the amount. They can't touch the amount. So they might put all their numbers in there and then decide, no, you know what, I really want $75 instead of 73, and they change it. You might not know that they've changed the formula or that they've changed the number. They've taken out the formula and just put in a number. Okay? And I'm really going off the deep end here. I'm not implying that anybody would ever do this. I needed a way to show you how or why you would want to protect things. You don't want people to touch numbers. Okay? So right here again, I can change the permissions right there. I'm allowing this person to do these cells right here. That's kind of a complex and advanced topic, but with all of the sharing that the consortiums are doing, you might have a bunch of sheets within a workbook, so you can have different shares on each worksheet. So this one here is the exact same expense report, but right here are the only cells that I'm allowing anybody to edit. So let's say that there was a discrepancy on the I don't know the budget that was submitted, and I want to know why is there a discrepancy. I don't want you to change the numbers. I just want to know what the discrepancy is about. So I would add an area off to the side to let you explain it, maybe add some numbers, maybe put something in there besides a comment so that you can actually show me the formula that you use to get your numbers where you cannot touch. No one can touch these cells here. As a matter of fact, this whole yellow area, no one can touch. They can only touch this here because I protected the sheet. Okay, does anybody have any questions with that? Yes. Okay. Uh-oh, I've been going too fast, huh? Hang on a sec. I'm going to pause. I'll come back in. Okay, what do we got here? How would you use the preview? Preview is so that nobody touches the document. They can look at it, they can peruse it, they can go through it. A newsletter, perhaps, on your website. You don't want anybody to really download it, you just want them to be able to read it. So you would allow them to preview. Okay, how is it different from view? View, when you share as a view mode, they're able to download the document. So there may be times when you're, let's say, doing a slideshow. You are, for whatever reason, you're protective of your slides deck or your PowerPoint, and you upload your PowerPoint into Google, and then you make it a preview only so that people can only look at the slides. So that's, I'm trying to think of reasons. Those are the only ones that I can think of right now. It's just a protection of the document. And that seems to be what a lot of people are concerned with when I talk about sharing and collaboration. You know, how can I protect it? Well, I don't want them to touch it. Well, okay, you have options then. There's lots of options. Okay. You'll practice. Okay, practice is a good thing. All right, now I paused. And now I need to unpause. Okay, resume. There we go. And please ask questions as they come up. And Veronica, if you could just give me a heads up. Hey, we got a question. I will stop. Okay. So we've gone over sharing. We've gone over protecting sheets, right? Let's just minimize that bad boy. Come on. It doesn't want to go anywhere. All right. Uh-oh. Okay, good. I thought I was frozen. And this next slide actually goes over what I've already talked about. So you can protect entire sheets, or you can protect just ranges, and there's steps off to the side that will basically walk you through it. Okay? Download. All doc sheets and slides and draw files can be downloaded as other types of files. So I can take this slides deck. I'm going to click on File, and I'm going to download as. I can download this as a PowerPoint. I can download it as a PDF, which I did, and I then uploaded it into Adobe Connect, and that's what you will have if you download this presentation from Adobe Connect. You can also download as plain text, JPEG, PNGs, or scalable vector. If you don't know what an SVG file is, don't worry about it. Don't do it, okay? JPEGs and PNGs, they are basically just pictures. So if I downloaded this as a PNG file, I would get, there's 22 slides, I would get 22 pictures, okay? So PDF is also a picture, but it's picture that you can edit. So you, as a PDF, you can actually go in and change text if you have a PDF editor. With a PNG or a JPEG, you're not able to do that. Why is this really cool in Draw? Because if you use Draw, and I'm just going to go directly to drawings.google.com so a new one opens up. By the way, Draw is part of Slides now, so that you can make all kinds of cool drawings. I'm going to name this my standard Dilettito. So let's say you have an image on your desktop and you want to insert it, or it's something that's it's a, what's an example I can use? Oh, here's one. Let's say that you're going to make a brochure for your consortium, or you're going to have a newsletter that goes out and it needs to be printed, but the image that you have is not the correct format. So you're going to upload that image from your computer because your print shop has asked for a PNG, okay? And you're going to upload, I'm just going to go ahead and use a PNG as a, oh, I don't want me though. There we go. So you're going to open up your picture, okay? You're going to put it in the corner of your file, and if I could move this over, that is, oh, that's weird. You can make the page smaller. Now this is going to bounce out at you, okay? It did not get bigger. What happened was, is I made the canvas smaller, okay? So after you get your picture into Draw, you can now go to File, Download As, and you can download as a PNG or a JPEG. These are the two most common formats for pictures from a print shop or for a print shop. So if you're again doing a brochure, a newsletter, anything that has images in it, and let's say you have an SVG, they don't want that. They want a PNG, or they want a JPEG. Now you know how to create your image as a PNG or a JPEG, and you don't need Photoshop to do it. You just stick it into Draw, and then make that image small, or make the canvas smaller, okay, and then download it as, let's make this one a JPEG. It'll come up like here, and I'm going to save it. And if I open up my desktop, which is where I think it went, there it is, as a JPEG. Okay? So now you can create different folders or different files, formats, using Google. You can download sheets as any one of these types of documents, and notice you have comma separated values and tab separated values. This is really cool for reporting or any kind of attendance. You can actually get forms involved. So you have all of your teachers, perhaps, they have an attendance form, and all of their students go in every day and they do their attendance. And you, as the administrator or the consortium lead or whatever, you want to know what the attendance was for the week of, okay? And you ask them, please send me a CSV file, or please send me a TSV file. They can do that because Forms is connected to Sheets. Okay, if you're doing any kind of budgeting, or if you're doing any kind of reporting, sometimes you want to import a CSV file into another application. Now you know that you can download a sheet as a CSV file. This is the most common upload function of most Excel and or Excel type, I should say, applications. Okay. While we're here, here's a nifty little function as well. Make available offline. Yes, you can use docs, sheets, and slides offline. All you have to do is make it offline while you're online. So if I know I'm going to be working on this budget over the weekend, and I'm going to be in Yosemite, where the Wi-Fi is the slowest in the world, I will make this available offline. This document is now available offline. I'm still online, so no biggies. It's still going to be refreshing as I make changes on this document. But when I do go to Yosemite and I get out my laptop because I want to work just for 15 minutes before my hike, I open up my sheets and that document will be available so that I can edit just a little bit and then I go off on my hike. I get my laptop, I come to work the next week, I open it up, it's connected to Wi-Fi. Everything that I did to that sheet while I was offline will be apparent and visible while I'm online. It syncs. Okay, the same thing with docs, the same thing with slides. I could make this slides deck available offline and it will be available for me as soon as I get back on the Wi-Fi. So here we go. You can import or upload any file into Google Drive. If I had a document on my desktop, it's a Microsoft Word file, I can upload it into Drive. It can stay a Microsoft Word file, but if I convert it to Google, it won't take away any space. If you're using the pub, you only have 15 gigs. If you're using a club, most G Suites EDU will allow up to 100 gigs. Sometimes you get more. I've been to a few sites where it's unlimited. So if you're unlimited, cool. Enjoy it while it lasts. But they'll probably going to cut your water off when they start realizing that people are using it as a repository for every file they ever owned. Okay, so, and if you're on the pub, you want to save that space. I've been using Google for years now, before Google was cool, and I've yet to hit 1 gig because everything I upload, import, or create is Google format. Sharing data is another way to share data is using a Google site. Google Sites is really, really cool, and you have one. If you have a Google, you have a site. All you have to do is build it. This site was built in about, I'm going to go off on maybe 4 days. It took me to create this site for a Google Summit that we had here with a consortia. Plaster School for Adults and Sierra Assets is the consortia. Plaster School for Adults is where it was held. And we use this for our schedule. We use this, and here is a PDF that is actually on our TAP drive, and we inserted it or embedded it in this website. The workshops are listed so that people knew what they were going to attend. Here is each session along with after the sessions. We went ahead and uploaded each. Here we go. Notice that it's in preview mode. This is a PDF of one of the workshops. So all of this was done with sites. We even had the evaluation forms on the sites. Each one of these is an evaluation on the Google site. So when you clicked on this link, if you went to the site and clicked on the link, it went to the Google form where we got our evaluations at. So what a cool way of using a Google site. You can use this for classrooms. You can share exactly what you want to share. By the way, let's go back to that eval page. I made all of these forms public, viewable by anybody that went to this website. Okay, but If I share directly with, let's just say 5 people, just 5 people had the link, or I put in their email addresses for just this form, only those 5 would be able to access this form. So that is a way to use a site, have the information available for the people, and not share it with the world, right? So if I have a document that I want to put on a website, but I only want 10 people to be able to open it, then I would put it on the site, and then on the document itself, I would make it viewable by those 10 people, or editable by those 10 people, so that when they clicked on it, they would see it, or when they got to this web page, they would see it. Everyone else, when they clicked, they would be told, you do not have permissions to open this file. So that's another way to protect your files if you use a Google site. What else we got here? I'm going to drive fast here. We got team drives. If you are on a club, you have team drives. It works just like my drive, but all of the materials in the team drive belong to the team. They don't belong to the individual. And you have more sharing capabilities. So you'll have managers, co-managers, and you can eliminate, I didn't want to say that word, you can eliminate people, or you can take them out of the team once the team's function has maybe passed. Maybe you're doing WASC and the WASC is over, or somebody retires while they're doing the WASC. When you take them out of the team, all of the documents that they added to that team drive stay there. So it's not like you're deleting their files, you're just deleting them from the share. So team drives is really cool, but it's only for clubs. You don't have that in the pub. You can also use Classroom to collaborate and share, not just with your students, but with your staff. So if you have a new teacher, their assignments might include something that the administrator wants them to do, or a mentor teacher, or maybe they have a co-teacher. They can be shown how to function in the program that they're in. You can have staff meetings as a Google Classroom, where all of the staff can go there and get the agendas. You've shared the agendas, or maybe you want their feedback, or maybe you have polls there for your staff. Or maybe your staff, your administrator, you want your staff to upload their certifications as they earn them. So different ways you can use Classroom beyond using it as students. Calendars are also a great way to use and collaborate within a consortium or anywhere. You all have a calendar if you have a Google account. You have My Calendar, okay? And you can change that name, by the way. But you can add calendars. And as you add calendars, you can share with specific people, just like doc sheets and slides. So that if I share a project XYZ calendar with Veronica, she's the only one that's going to see the dates on it. Or if I share with 10 people in a consortia, only those 10 will be able to see that calendar listed under their calendar. Okay, so all of us can maybe edit it, or maybe I just want them to view. It's up to me since I create the calendar. You've got lots of options there. Within calendars, you also have the ability to create a meet, which is club function only, or it's public equivalent is Hangouts. So you could start a Hangout on a calendar. You share the event with somebody, you invite them to it, you have the Hangout link there, boom, they click on it, it opens, you have basically a video conference built in to calendars. And I think I'm running a little long, but not too much. It's almost time to end. So if you want more, this was kind of a dry workshop, this webinar. The next one is going to be a little more fun, and you might even have some hands-on time during it. I'm going to try and convince Veronica that we have time for that. But if you want a 3-hour hands-on workshop on technology and you are WIOA funded, then you would contact OTAN at support@otan.us and let us know. If you're part of Consortia, a non-WIOA funded agency within a consortia, or you have a consortium event coming up, then you would submit a request directly to caladulted.org/tap. Again, these links are live. All you have to do is click on it, and then submit your request. Veronica will be, she's Johnny on the spot. You'll get a response probably within 2 business days, if not sooner, probably 1 business day actually. She's on the clock all the time. So you will get a response. What happens at that point is that she will contact OTAN and say, hey, we have a request for this workshop that's listed on your site. And by the way, all of our workshops are listed on our website, on the OTAN website at www.otan.us/training. You click there, you go to the face-to-face workshops, and you'll get a full list of all of our workshops, which can be tailored to fit your needs. So if you see Google Calendar, but you want a little more, you want your staff to work on Google Calendar and Google Drive, we can do that for you. Okay. There's also lots of other things besides Google that we do. It's not just Google. I hate to admit it, but we do lots more than Google. Okay. So again, if you want more, you want hands-on workshops at your site, please let us know either by going to OTAN or by going through TAP. I'm going to stop sharing right now, or actually I'm just going to pause. We'll leave that screen up. Come on. There we go. And see if there's any questions. Again, this is kind of a dry workshop. The next one happening in May on the 21st, I believe. We will be having a lot more fun. If you have any questions, now the time. We got a minute. Oh, no, we don't. We got 20 seconds. Clarity. Ooh, nice. Thank you. And Veronica, unless there's any other questions, I'm done talking. Oh, can you share your Google Slides with us? If you go ahead and type in your email address, yes, I will share the Google Slides with you. The PDF is available off on the far left-hand side. You should see collaborating tips for Consortia.pdf. If you click on that, you will be able to download, which is exactly the same thing. And Inland Assistant, I see your email and I will add you as a viewer so that you can make your own copy. Okay? Got a few more people typing. Oh, Emily wants one too. Look at you all jumping on the bandwagon here. No worries, I'll add you too. Hang on, Veronica. I think we're going to get more requests. Yeah. Unfortunately, Google Slides won't upload into Adobe Connect. They don't play well together, which is a little sad, but it's something we have to deal with. Okay, so I'll see all your emails coming in. So again, if you're typing in your email, I'm going to assume you want a copy of the slides deck, not just a PDF, and I will send that to you. You always learn a nugget or two. Oh, good. There's lots of nuggets out there. I wish I could bend your ear for a week and we'd still have nuggets left. Okay, Veronica, I'm going to stop talking.